Hey, welcome back everyone. Happy Friday. So today I'm going to do a slab crack. This is for one of the followers. Thank you very much, James, for providing your cards. So there's going to be 3 BGS slabs we're going to take a look at, and I'm going to show you guys kind of how I look at everything before we decide to do crossover. So I know a lot of you guys have been asking on Instagram, which I'm extremely flattered. I am not a grader by any means. I just try to give myself the best opportunities, I think, for 10s. Gem Mint 10s from PSA, at least, just because monetarily they're the ones that make most sense. Not a fanboy by any means, but you know what? I'm going to go where the money is. I hate saying that. Once again, I appreciate you guys. A lot of love lately, a lot of questions. I'm happy to answer all of them. If I haven't gotten back to you, I apologize. I try to look through everything. Instagram, I got settings on, so I have to approve everything anyway. But, hey, Kat. So I appreciate you guys. I appreciate you, James. We're going to take a look at your cards right now, and we're going to go from there. Okay, so we're going to crack some slabs today for James. Thank you so much for watching the videos and entrusting me with your valuables. So we're going to go through this real quick so you can kind of see a little bit more in detail kind of how I go about it. So we looked at these cards ahead of time and sent you the pictures, close-ups based on the scope here, and then we're going to just go ahead and crack them with your permission. And then after that, we're going to look at them again and potentially clean up anything you see on the surface and go from there. So these are from the 2022 one-piece set. Not super familiar with these, but if they're anything like Weiss, they should typically grade pretty well. So we're going to go about it right now. So I'm going to go ahead and do this. If I take it off screen, it's just to clean up the plastic that I have scattered everywhere. So for me, I just crack these bad boys and put them in sleeves. I don't have the strongest grip in the world anymore. My deadlifting days are gone, but usually I'll crack diagonal like that, or what is it, at an angle, maybe not diagonal, but at an angle. And then I will also crack here on the bottom side, just so that I can get a flathead in them to pry it open. So always got to be careful. I should probably tape it like Kurt, but you know, it doesn't really matter too much. Here, clean it anyway. So it's probably that's all that's needed for that side. Take a flathead. I'm gonna clean this off a little bit. There's a lot of plastic pieces everywhere. You always want to be careful not to get stuff everywhere. Maybe I'll do it on the next one. I'll show you guys a cleaner way to do it. All right, cool. So just take your flathead, wedge it underneath, twist. And I hope you guys can check the camera here. All right, flathead, twist, and be careful. So every slab breaks a little bit different. I've noticed BGS is a little bit harder because of the way that they have the slab as far as from the bottom. PSA is just basically even, but BGS, you got to make sure you wedge it in between pretty decently and avoid the corners of the cards at all times, at all costs, I should say. So here we go. In there, I can get underneath and just work it down and be smart. It's never a rush, even on video. Just got to be careful. So there you go. Right open. What I do love about BGS is that the cards come in sleeves, so you don't have to worry about little plastic pieces falling all over the place. So I'm going to put this one aside. First one cracked. We're going to keep this label. Dump that out. Here's the second one. We're going to do the same thing. And I'll go through the whole inspection, James, so that you can kind of see. Like I said, I don't really charge a lot for this. Maybe I should in the future, but you know, I'm not doing this to make money. Just doing this to kind of help people out. But if you guys start flooding me, I've had a couple of you guys come to me and stuff like that, and I love the practice, but it does take a lot of time. So if it gets to a point where it's kind of taken away from my daily lifestyle with child and other things, I might actually have to charge you guys more. But let's hope it doesn't get to that. So you guys learn to do this on your own so you don't have to send it to people like me. That sounds like a good deal, right? All right, 2 hands here. one hand, I guess. There's a lot of plastic here. So before we move on to the next frame, after I get these out, I'm going to clean this up so that, you know, we don't damage the card at all. Same thing. Go underneath. Flathead. Twist. People do it all different. There's people who probably do it more efficient. But for me, like I said, it's about getting it done right the first time. All the way around. Avoid corners of the card if possible. Actually, it's always possible. Just be careful. Take your time. If you get stuck, go to the other side and it will eventually pry loose. So go over here. And there we go. Right out. Second card. Nice and clean. Take the label out. And the final one before we switch angles here. So third one, same thing in one piece. I would say my favorite cards are slabs to crack. It's probably actually PSA. Easiest cards or easiest slabs to crack. Hardest, you're looking at it, in my opinion at least. Beckett has some thick cases. And when you're a tiny man like myself, I say that because I stand at a imposing 5'5". You can imagine, as far as the pound for poundness, how it goes. All right, so I'm going to clean this up after I crack this last one out, and we're going to look at the rest. So, James, I appreciate you sending these to me today. And thanks for, like I said, I always ask for permission. I don't want to break your stuff before you give me the okay. And I always want to pre-inspect before I do such a thing. So, thanks again for entrusting me with this. We're going to get this and try to get PSA 10s. All right, so this one. Label, card. All right, so we're going to flip this around, guys. These are the 3 cards, so you guys can see. We're going to flip them around, and then we're going to take a look at everything. So thank you for staying with me over here, and we shall do that. All right, so here's the first angle. I'm going to go over these cards. This first one is one of the one-piece ones. James, you know what they are, like I said. Not super familiar with the set, but we're going to take a look at everything. Corners here and edges. I use my giant microscope with the LCD to make sure. And if you guys want to invest in one, you should. I use a jeweler's loop forever. But after inspecting tons and tons and tons of cards, it starts straining the eyes and the neck, and I got lazy. So I decided, you know what, I'm going to buy something that's going to be a lot more efficient, in my opinion. But you don't have to. But it saves time. As you can see, edges, corners, all on this particular card look really nice. I'm going to go ahead and flip this over. Also, I'm going to make it a little bit bigger. We are going to a quite a zoomed in mode over here, so you can almost see the pixelation of the cards. But the reason I use negative once again is because everything that is put on these cards, obviously it's made out of paper, regardless of the layers and surface. So any kind of chipping will show up as black. These are not. However, these black dots right here is actually just part of the card, since it is one of those, I would say, what is it, foil? Aluminum, not aluminum, but foil cards. So there's kind of like a refractor-like surface to those. And as you can see, the edges are super clean. Corners are nice and clean. We're going to go to the back. And like I said, I'm not taking them out of the sleeve yet. We'll soon. So these, on the back side, since it's a dark border, they'll show up as black as well. So as you can see, card, edges, super clean. You'll see a black dot over here, and that might have just been dirt on the surface. It was. And this is still sleeved inside the Beckett thing. So over here, if I can see, wipe it off. It's just dirt. It's not on the card. It's just on the sleeve. So this particular card, the edges and the corners look really nice. We're going to go to surface shortly. Same thing. We're going to go to the second card. You can see, nice and super clean all the way across. And like I said, I I've gotten to a point where I can slide it across pretty easy and be able to kind of identify spots. Apologize if I'm going a little fast. YouTube doesn't like long videos, and so don't you guys. Most of you guys just watch my videos for about, I think, like 60 seconds. So I'm going to try and limit this here. Nice and clean. Clean corners, clean edges. All in the front. All right, backside. Expect the same. I've noticed with these TCG cards from Weiss and now One Piece, they are just higher quality cards. Final Fantasy and such. They do a great job. Pokemon, not so much. They could probably do a little bit better with the quality control. However, I don't really collect Pokemon, so I'm not complaining. All right. Edges on the back. It's good as well. So here we go. All right, third one. And these are kind of cool looking. I've never seen these before. I had to confirm with PSA they're grading them, and they do. So James, here we go. There's that. Ooh. Edges nice and clean. Okay. How do you guys inspect your cards? Or do you even inspect your cards? I recommend you do, just because, well, you don't have to. I mean, you should if you are planning to both make a little side money off of it, and also if you just like collecting stuff that's closer to perfect. If you want to take a crapshoot, that's cool too, but a lot of times that costs a lot more than it should. Have a purpose, whatever you're grading for, whether it's collecting to be a Gem Mint 10 owner or collecting just in general because you like stuff, like I said, that's nice and clean and mint. Just take a look at your cards. Otherwise, just shoot them off and someone else can look at them. All right, cool. So the front and back on all these look great. We're going to take them out of the sleeve, so hang tight. We're going to do that as well. Okay, guys, and we're back. So I got them out of the slabs. I cut them out of their sleeves, and we're going to take a quick look just to show you guys kind of what I look at. So we already looked at the edges and corners, and I think we can all agree they look pretty good. So next thing we're going to look at centering and surface. So I'm going to take a look here with the surface of each card. I do not use gloves once again because I have no intention A, touching the surface, and second, if it snags, it's going to destroy the card, in my opinion. So I trust my hands more than gloves. So all you got to do is take a look, use some lighting around you, and with foil it's very easy because you can see little scratches and stuff like that just from changing the angle of the card and the light. And this card, I can tell you, looks clean. But to be safe, a lot of times what I'll do also, I'm going to turn this light off. I will use a black light because black lights will also show any kind of scratches or paper loss that you cannot see with your naked eye. And over here, this looks really good. All right. So this particular card looks good. We're also going to look at the centering real quick. And I can tell you right now, left to right, it's a little bit off. It's a little bit more wide on the left side. So I would that obviously means the right side is a little bit more narrow, but not 60-40, 60% in one way, 40% in one way. This is within PSA's PSA Gem Mint 10 standards. Even the top to bottom, like I said, is a little bit off, but it's very minor. This card still has a very, very good chance of being a PSA 10 based on corners, edges, surface alone. So centering is, like I said, their least important one for them, at least from my experience. So I'd be comfortable sending this for a crossover. So cut the sleeves on one side before you put them in. That way it avoids corners snagging and stuff like that. I will just go ahead and put this in so it doesn't catch and damage the corners at all. And that's one way to ensure that you guys get the best opportunities, because a lot of times your card will get damaged just from putting it in a penny sleeve. Second card, same thing. We'll look at centering first. This one, same thing, a little bit off left to right, but not enough to not make it a PSA 10. Top to bottom looks okay, still a little bit off, but once again, not enough to not make it a PSA 10. So we're going to take a look at the surface right now, and all the different lighting that you can see. With foil, it's very easy. There's little minor scratches a lot of times that are very easily noticed, and this one looks extremely clean. Take a look under the black light as well. And black light, once again, like I said, can show paper loss. So if you want to use this, if you don't want to spend a bunch of money on a microscope to kind of inspect edges and corners, you'll be able to see whitening or blackening if it's got white borders. But this particular card looks good. Same thing. good chance for a PSA 10. Put this in a sleeve. All right. And the third card, another nice card over here. And I do not use gloves once again. I know a lot of you guys are going to crucify me for it, but I trust my hands more than gloves. A, no intention of touching the surface. B, my hands don't snag. Gloves can, and then they'll destroy the card, and you could have ruined something that was perfectly good. Centering a little bit off left to right once again. Top to bottom, this one's a little bit different just because there's no border, so you'll measure where the 5 is, the top of the 5 and the bottom over here. Eyeballing it, it's actually pretty close. I would say it's probably closer to 58.42. Oh no, probably more close better. Sorry, 48.52 I would say, not 58.40. That's way off. So this particular card looks good to me for a PSA 10, based on what you saw on the microscope for edges and corners. Surface and edges look good as well. So once again, not affiliated with anyone. I do think BGS is the toughest as far as grading goes. I hate to use the word toughest. I would just say probably the most, I hate to say accurate too. I would say the most what the card actually should be. So these 3 cards all look good. You see the 9.5s all across the board. We're going to do a crossover here. Thank you, James, for letting me do this. I appreciate it. And then if you have any questions, you know how to get a hold of me. But I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for all the love lately. A lot of you guys have been messaging me, trying to send me cards. I will do it if I can. I'm very open and transparent. I'll tell you what my process is and everything like that. And I always ask for permission before I do anything. So I hope this comes back. You guys will see it when it does, and then we'll go from there. Thanks again, and have a good one.